I spilled the coffee on purpose, because the knife was already moving. Most people wouldn't have seen it, just a flash of polished steel catching the overhead light as Min Beek adjusted his cuff. But I wasn't most people. I was the invisible black woman in a starched uniform, refilling drinks for men who made people disappear. I wasn't supposed to see anything. I wasn't supposed to be anything. Yet there it was, tucked inside his sleeve, angled perfectly toward the base of Jun Seok-won's skull. 3 feet separated them. Jun Seo sat relaxed in his leather chair, scrolling through his tablet like he owned the world. White t-shirt, neck tattoo, completely unaware that his most trusted partner was about to drive 6 inches of steel through his spine. My hand trembled around the coffee pot. The weight of it suddenly felt impossible. If I did nothing, he'd be dead in 5 seconds. If I did something, I might be dead in 10. Min Yi's fingers twitched. The blade shifted half an inch forward, silent, controlled, practiced. His face stayed calm, friendly even, like he was about to ask about the weather. That's what made it so terrifying. I'd seen men dragged down hallways in this place, heard gunshots through soundproof walls, watched blood get mopped up like spilled wine, but I'd never seen betrayal this close, this quiet. My heartbeat hammered so loud, I was sure they'd hear it. 3 seconds left, maybe less. Jun Seo's eyes stayed locked on his screen. Min Yi's hand slid another inch. The blade caught the light again, sharp, final, inevitable. I didn't think. I just moved. The coffee pot lurched from my grip. No, I threw it directly onto Jun Seo's chest. Scalding liquid erupted across his white shirt, his lap, his arms. He shot to his feet with a shout that echoed off marble walls, tablet clattering to the floor. Min Yi froze mid-draw. The blade stopped, still hidden, but his eyes snapped to mine with the cold precision of a predator recognizing another predator. He knew. And I knew that he knew. And that's when I realized I just signed my own death warrant. Let me ask you something before this goes any further. If you were in my position, invisible, surrounded by dangerous men, and you noticed something no one else did, would you speak up, or would you stay silent to survive? If you're already feeling that tension, subscribe and like this video, because you won't want to miss what happens next. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because once this moment unfolds, there's no turning back. 2 months before that moment, I didn't know who Jun Seok-won was. I was just drowning. 3 jobs, 70-hour weeks, my grandmother's medication costs climbing every month while our landlord threatened eviction. The private staffing agency seemed like a lifeline when they called, cash tips, high-end clients, flexible hours. It's simple, the woman on the phone said. Serve drinks at a private business club, be discreet, be professional, don't ask questions. What she didn't say was that business club meant organized crime. That the men in those tailored suits had blood on their hands. That the soundproof walls weren't for privacy, they were for screams. I learned that my first week. I was clearing glasses when I saw them drag a man down the back hallway. He was sobbing, begging in Korean I couldn't understand. His eyes found mine for half a second, wild, desperate, pleading. I looked away. Kept my hands steady on the tray, kept walking, told myself it wasn't my problem. Then I heard the gunshot. After that, I knew exactly where I was, and I knew there was no quitting, not when they had my real name, my address, my grandmother's photo from the background check. I was trapped. Jun Seok-won ran everything. He was younger than I expected, late 20s, maybe early 30s, but he carried himself like a man who'd never lost a fight. Cold eyes that calculated everything. A voice so controlled it made silence feel violent. He never shouted, never threatened, he didn't have to. I served him coffee every Tuesday and Thursday for 8 weeks. He never looked at me once. Not until the day I saved his life. You can't work in a room full of predators without learning to read the tension. Jun Seok-won inherited leadership when his father was assassinated. Shot 3 times in his own driveway. The killer was never found, or maybe he was found and just never made it to trial. In this world, justice looked different. Jun Seo was younger than anyone expected to run an organization this size. Late 20s, maybe early 30s. He wore t-shirts under tailored jackets, made decisions based on profit margins instead of tradition, talked about expansion like he was pitching a startup, not controlling half the city's underground. The older members hated it. Min Yi-beek hated it most. He'd been loyal to Jun Seo's father for 20 years, stood beside him through wars, federal investigations, internal purges. He'd expected succession. He'd earned it. Instead, leadership passed to a son who acted like the old ways were outdated software that needed deleting. I saw the cracks everywhere. The way Min Yi's jaw tightened when Jun Seo gave orders. The way his smile never reached his eyes during meetings. The hushed phone calls in Korean, his voice dropping to a vicious whisper when he thought no one was listening. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the tone. Rage, resentment, calculation. One night, I was refilling water glasses when I heard Min Yi mention the old way to another man. His hand chopped the air like he was cutting something in half. The other man nodded slowly, eyes dark with agreement. They both glanced at Jun Seo across the room. It wasn't respect in their eyes. It was measurement, like they were deciding where to aim. I kept pouring water, kept my face blank, kept breathing. But I knew what I'd just witnessed. Not loyalty. A countdown. Oh my God, I gasped, my voice shaking as I grabbed napkins from the tray. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. Jun Seo cursed in Korean, yanking the scalding fabric away from his skin. His neck was red. His jaw clenched tight, but he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at Min Yi. And Min Yi was looking at the floor, where the tablet had fallen, where coffee pooled across expensive shoes, where the entire careful choreography of an assassination had been shattered by a clumsy waitress. The room went silent, except for the drip of liquid hitting marble. Jun Seo's eyes narrowed, just slightly. But I saw it. He'd noticed something. Get out, he said to me. His voice was ice over steel. I didn't need to be told twice. I grabbed the tray with shaking hands and fled. But I felt Min Yi's eyes burning into my back the entire way. 2 hours later, a man with dead eyes and an earpiece appeared at the staff room door. Come with me. No explanation, no choice. He gripped my arm like I was evidence being collected and marched me back to the private lounge. My heart was trying to escape through my throat. Jun Seo was waiting. He changed into a black button-down, sleeves rolled to his elbows. His expression gave away nothing. Min Yi was gone. Sit, Jun Seo said. I sat. He studied me in silence, 30 seconds, a minute, long enough that my palms started sweating against my thighs. You spilled coffee on me, he finally said. Yes, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. Do you make a habit of spilling coffee? No, sir. Then why today? My throat closed. If I told the truth, I was accusing his right-hand man of attempted murder. If I lied, he'd see through it. Either way, I was finished. My voice cracked. I got nervous. You seemed focused and I didn't want to disturb you, so I was trying to be quiet and I just... You're lying. The words landed like a slap. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes locked on mine. You saw something, tell me what. I couldn't breathe. If you lie to me again, he said quietly, you won't leave this room, do you understand? So I told him. About the glitter of the blade, the way Min Yi's hand moved, the angle, the certainty in his body language. When I finished, Jun Seo said nothing. He stood, walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows and stared out at the city lights below. Do you know what you've done? He asked. I saved your life. He turned. His smile was razor-thin, dangerous. You've made yourself valuable, and in my world, that's the most dangerous thing you can possibly be. Min Yi didn't disappear. That should have been my first warning. He came back the next day like nothing had happened, smiled at Jun Seo, made jokes with the other men, acted like I was furniture. But the room felt different, tighter. I watched Jun Seo's guards position, themselves closer to Min Yi. Watch the way Jun Seo's eyes tracked every movement his partner made. Cold, calculating, patient. He was testing him, waiting for proof. Or so I thought. 3 nights later, I was cleaning the back hallway, the one where I'd heard the gunshot my first week, when voices drifted from behind a door left slightly ajar. I froze. "She's a liability," Minyi's voice, controlled but sharp. "She's useful," Junseo, flat, final. "She saw too much. Eventually she'll talk." "She won't." "How can you be sure?" Silence stretched. Then Junseo spoke, his voice colder than I'd ever heard it. "Because if she talks, I'll kill everyone she loves, starting with her grandmother, and she knows it." My blood turned to ice water. I pressed my back against the wall, hand over my mouth to keep from making a sound. I wasn't his ally. I wasn't even his employee. I was his hostage. And he just told his would-be assassin exactly how to control me. The conversation continued, but I couldn't hear it anymore over the roaring in my ears. My legs felt like water. My chest felt like it was caving in. I'd saved his life. And this was how he repaid me. By making sure I could never escape. By turning my love for my grandmother into a chain around my neck. By telling the man who tried to kill him that I was already trapped. I don't know how long I stood there. Minutes, maybe. Long enough for the voices to stop. Long enough for footsteps to echo down another hallway. When I finally moved, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the cleaning supplies. I went back to work because what else could I do? But everything had changed. I wasn't protecting Junseo anymore. I was protecting my grandmother from him. And the man who wanted him dead knew it. Think about this for a second. I knew that one wrong move could cost my life, but doing nothing would cost him his. What would you have done in my place? If this moment has you holding your breath, hit like and subscribe, because from here on, every decision gets more dangerous. The new man walked into the lounge during evening service 4 days later. Tall, Western features, expensive charcoal suit. He shook Junseo's hand like they were old colleagues attending a conference. "Mr. Kwon," he said in flawless English, "always a pleasure." "Director Chen," Junseo replied with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I wasn't expecting you." Surprise inspection. The man's gaze swept the room and landed on me, lingered. New staff. Temporary arrangement. Director Chen's smile was all teeth. "Be careful who you trust these days. The walls have ears." He stayed for 20 minutes, drank scotch, made small talk about real estate markets and import regulations. Then he left as smoothly as he'd arrived. After the door closed, I cornered Jaeyeon, one of the Korean servers who'd worked there for 3 years. "Who was that?" I whispered. She looked at me like I'd just asked what color the sky was. "FBI, Joint Task Force investigating organized crime. He's been circling this place for 2 years. My knees went weak. Junseo wasn't just fighting internal betrayal. He was under federal investigation. And if the FBI thought I was part of his organization, if they had photos of me serving drinks, entering the building, standing next to him, I was already complicit in the eyes of the law. I couldn't run to the police. They'd arrest me. I couldn't run to Junseo. He'd already made his position clear. I couldn't run anywhere. The cage had just gotten smaller, with new bars I didn't even know existed. That night, I lay awake in my grandmother's apartment, staring at the ceiling. She was asleep in the next room, her breathing steady and peaceful. She had no idea what I'd become, what I was trapped in. I thought about Director Chen's eyes on me, the way he'd said new staff, like he was cataloging evidence. I thought about Minyi's blade, about Junseo's threat, about the gunshot I'd heard my first week. And I realized something that made my stomach turn. I wasn't choosing between right and wrong anymore. I was choosing which monster would devour me first. Everything fell apart on a Thursday night. The lounge was quieter than usual. Just Junseo, Minyi, and 2 guards positioned near the door. I was clearing glasses when I saw Minyi reach into his jacket. For one heart-stopping second, I thought he was going for the blade again. Instead, he pulled out a small vial, clear liquid, no bigger than my thumb. He palmed it while Junseo was looking at his phone, then tilted it over the boss's whiskey glass. 3 drops, soundless, invisible. Poison. My body moved before my brain caught up. I crossed the room, grabbed Junseo's glass, and poured it into the nearby sink before anyone could react. The room went silent. Minyi's face drained of color, then flushed with rage. "What the hell are you doing?" he demanded. I fumbled for words. There was something floating in it, I thought. "You thought what?" His voice was climbing now, sharp and dangerous. "You think you can just grab things from my boss's hand?" Junseo stood slowly. His eyes moved from the empty sink to Minyi's face to the hand, still hovering near his jacket pocket. "Nyla," he said quietly, "step back." I did. Minyi's hand moved to his jacket again. This time I saw the gun. I ran. I made it 5 steps before the gunshot exploded behind me. The wall beside my head erupted in plaster and dust. I screamed, ducked, kept running. Footsteps pounded after me, heavy, fast, relentless. I burst through the back exit into the alley. And stopped. Junseo stood there, gun already drawn, pointed past me at Minyi, who'd frozen in the doorway. How did he get ahead of me? How did he? Then I understood. He'd known, the entire time. He'd been waiting for Minyi to make another move. And I'd just given him the proof he needed. "You were right about him," Junseo said to me. His voice was eerily calm. "He's been planning this for 8 months. The old guard promised him my position if he delivered my head." Minyi's face twisted. "You're weak, Junseo. Your father would be ashamed of what you've become." "My father's dead because of men like you." "Your father's dead because he trusted the wrong." The gunshot cut him off. Minyi crumpled. Blood spread across the concrete, black under the dim alley lights. His eyes stayed open, staring at nothing. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't look away. Junseo lowered his gun and turned to me. Blood misted his face, his white shirt. His eyes were completely empty. "You saved my life twice," he said quietly. I couldn't speak. He stepped closer, close enough that I could smell gunpowder and expensive cologne. "That means you belong to me now." I wanted to run. Every instinct screamed at me to bolt down the alley and never look back. But his guards had appeared from nowhere, blocking both exits. Silent, efficient, like they'd rehearsed this. Maybe they had. Junseo holstered his gun and pulled out his phone, made a call in Korean. His tone was business casual, like he was ordering takeout instead of arranging a body disposal. I stood there, shaking, trying not to look at Minyi's corpse. When Junseo finished the call, he pocketed his phone and looked at me properly for the first time. "You work for me now," he said. "You live for me, and if you ever try to leave." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I nodded, because what else could I do? He smiled. It looked wrong on his face. Good, because Minyi wasn't working alone. My stomach dropped. "What?" "There's someone else who wants me dead, someone still inside my organization." He stepped closer, studying my reaction. Minyi was the weapon, but someone else loaded the gun. "Who?" "That's what you're going to help me find out." I can't." "You can." His voice was soft but absolute. "You already proved that twice." "I just got lucky." "Luck," he laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You noticed details trained killers missed. You moved faster than men with military training. That's not luck. That's survival instinct, and I need that." "I'm not." "You are now," he gestured to the body. "You think you can walk away from this? The FBI already has you on their radar. Director Chen mentioned new staff for a reason. He's building a file on you." My chest tightened. I didn't do anything. "You're here, that's enough." He pulled something from his pocket, a photo. My grandmother walking out of our apartment building. Yesterday's date stamped in the corner. "How did you?" "I protect my assets," he said simply. "And right now, you're my most valuable one, so here's how this works. You continue serving at the lounge, but now you watch, you listen, you report everything directly to me." "And if I say no?" He didn't answer, just looked at the photo in my hand. The message was clear. "Who am I looking for?" I asked quietly. "Someone you've already served coffee to." He leaned in close. his breath warm against my ear. Someone who smiled at you, thanked you, acted like you were human instead of furniture. My blood went cold. Why would they? Because people lower their guard around kindness. They think it makes them safe. He stepped back. But in my world, kindness is just another weapon, and whoever's using it knows exactly what they're doing. A black van pulled into the alley. 2 men got out and moved toward Minyi's body without a word. Junseo walked toward the building entrance, then paused. One more thing, Nyla. The next person who tries to kill me might decide to eliminate you first. You're a witness now, a liability. He disappeared inside, leaving me alone in the alley with Minyi's blood pooling toward my shoes and a truth that made my knees weak. I wasn't just a maid anymore. I was a target. I went back to work the next day because I had no choice. Same uniform, same trays, same marble floors that had been mopped clean of blood overnight. But everything was different now. The men who used to ignore me completely now tracked my movements with their eyes. Not obviously, just quick glances when they thought I wasn't looking. They knew something had changed. They just didn't know what. Junseo called me into his office that afternoon. Private. No guards this time. Just him behind a massive desk and me standing in front of it like a student called to the principal. Minyi had a partner, he said without preamble. Someone inside feeding him information, timing, security rotations, my schedule. How do you know? Because Minyi was too careful to act without insurance. He had backup plans for his backup plans. Junseo slid a folder across the desk. These are the only people with access to the information he needed. I opened it. 8 faces, 8 names, all men I'd served coffee to over the past 2 months. My hands started shaking. One of them is planning to finish what Minyi started, Junseo continued. And they're going to move soon, maybe days, maybe hours. Why are you telling me this? Because you're invisible to them. They see the uniform, not the person. That makes you the perfect set of eyes. I'm not a spy. You are now. He stood and walked around the desk. You'll continue your regular duties, but you'll pay attention. Who makes phone calls when they think no one's listening? Who gets nervous when I enter a room? Who asks questions they shouldn't? What if I get it wrong? What if I accuse someone innocent? His expression didn't change. Then they die anyway, better safe than sorry. The casual cruelty of it took my breath away. I can't. You can, and you will. He pulled out another photo, my grandmother, this time sitting in her favorite chair by the window, reading. Inside our apartment. You have cameras inside my home, my voice cracked. I have cameras everywhere that matters. He tucked the photo back into his pocket. Your grandmother takes her medication at 8 every morning, watches her shows at 7 every evening, goes to bed at 10:30. Tears burned behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Here's what's going to happen, Junseo said softly. You're going to watch those 8 men. You're going to notice things. And when you see something, anything, that feels wrong, you're going to tell me immediately. And then what? Then I handle it. You just point me in the right direction. Like a hunting dog. He smiled. Exactly like a hunting dog, except dogs get rewarded with treats. You get rewarded with your grandmother's safety. I looked at the 8 faces again. One of them had smiled at me yesterday, asked if my day was going well. One of them was going to try to kill Junseo, and I was supposed to figure out which one before they succeeded. This is the moment everything changed. I wasn't supposed to have power, yet here I was, controlling the room with nothing but my nerve and timing. If her courage moved you, if her confidence surprised you, drop a fire in the comments right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because this isn't just his story anymore, it's hers. The next 3 days felt like walking through a minefield blindfolded. Every conversation I overheard could be the one, every phone call, every tense silence. I watched the 8 men like my life depended on it. Because it did. Park Jin-ho, head of security, 40-something, military background. He gave orders in short, clipped sentences and never smiled. Lee Sang-min, financial advisor, soft-spoken, wire-rim glasses, always polite, always calculating. Choi Di-young, import operations, loud, aggressive, the kind of man who made waitresses cry for fun. Kim Tae-won, legal counsel, sharp suits, sharper eyes, spoke 3 languages fluently. And 4 others whose names I'd memorized, but whose faces blurred together after hours of watching. I noticed things. Park Jin-ho made a phone call every day at exactly 2:15. Same time, same duration, but he always stepped outside to do it. Lee Sang-min's hands trembled when Jun Seo asked him direct questions. Subtle, but there. Choi Di-young stopped being loud when Director Chen's name came up, just for a second. Then he'd laugh too hard to compensate. Kim Tae-won watched me, not like the others, like he was trying to figure out what I knew. But none of it felt conclusive. None of it felt like proof. Maybe they were all guilty of something. Maybe none of them were guilty of *this. And then there was the other problem. The guards were watching me now, too. Not protecting me, monitoring me. I'd catch them positioned where they could see me, but I couldn't see them. I'd turn around and find one standing just a little too close. One night I found my locker had been searched, nothing taken, but my things had been moved, rearranged just slightly. Someone wanted me to know they were looking. The worst part came 4 days after Min-yi's death. I was walking home from the bus stop when I noticed a car following me. Black sedan, tinted windows. It stayed exactly 3 car lengths behind for 6 blocks. When I turned down my grandmother's street, it kept going. But the message was clear. They knew where I lived, where I went, when I was alone. I made it inside and locked every lock on the door. My grandmother was asleep, safe, for now. I sat in the dark, watching the street through a gap in the curtains. The car didn't come back, but I knew it would. Because I wasn't just trapped between Jun Seo's threats and the FBI's investigation anymore. I was trapped between everyone who wanted to use me and everyone who wanted me gone. I found the envelope on a Tuesday morning, taped underneath the serving tray I used every single day, the one I'd grabbed 100 times without looking. Someone had put it there recently, maybe overnight, maybe an hour ago. My hands shook as I peeled it free and opened it. Photographs. 6 of them. My grandmother's apartment building, front entrance, side entrance, the corner market where she bought her groceries, the pharmacy where she picked up her medications. All timestamped from yesterday. No note, no explanation, no demands. Just proof that someone was watching her, following her, documenting her entire routine. I couldn't breathe. The kitchen staff moved around me, prepping for evening service, completely unaware that my world had just collapsed. I shoved the photos into my pocket and finished my shift on autopilot, smiled when spoken to, nodded when given instructions, kept my hands from shaking through sheer force of will. The second my shift ended, I went straight to Jun Seo's office. He was on the phone when I entered, saw my face, ended the call immediately. What happened? I threw the envelope on his desk. He examined each photo carefully. His expression gave nothing away, but I saw his jaw tighten. When did you find these? This morning, under my tray. Who has access to that area? Everyone, staff, guards, any of your men. He set the photos down and looked at me properly. This is how they control you. Fear works better than force. You understand that now, don't you? Can you protect her? I already am. I have someone watching her building. Then how did they get these photos? His silence was answer enough. Whoever took these pictures had gotten past Jun Seo's surveillance, had documented my grandmother's movements without being noticed, had placed the envelope where only I would find it. This wasn't amateur hour. This was someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The conspirator is sending you a message, Jun Seo said quietly. They know you're helping me. They know you're the reason Min-yi failed, and they want you to understand that if you keep interfering, your grandmother pays the price. So what do I do? You keep watching, keep listening, because now we know something important. What? They're scared of you. He tapped the photos. People don't threaten what they can dismiss. They threaten what they fear. You've become dangerous to them, Nyla. That means you're getting close. Close to what? I don't know anything. You know more than you think. You've seen something, heard something, some detail that would expose them. He leaned forward. Think, what stands out, what felt wrong? I tried to remember, tried to sort through dozens of conversations, hundreds of small moments. But my mind kept returning to the same terrifying thought. Jun Seo said he was protecting my grandmother. But someone had gotten past his protection easily, which meant either his security was compromised, or he was lying, and I had no way to know which. I was leaving through the back entrance after my shift when someone called my name. Nyla, wait. I turned. Kang Taemin, one of Jun Seo's younger guards, early 20s maybe, always polite, always respectful, one of the few who actually looked at me like I was human. He glanced around the hallway, then stepped closer. I need to talk to you, he said quietly, somewhere private. Every alarm in my body went off. About what? About what's happening to you. His eyes were genuinely concerned. You're in danger, real danger, and I don't think you understand how bad it's going to get. I should go. Jun Seo is using you. The words came out fast, urgent. He's using you as bait to draw out whoever's planning the next attempt. He doesn't care if you get hurt. He just needs you visible and vulnerable. How do you know that? Because I heard him say it 3 days ago. He told Park Jin-ho that you were acceptable collateral if it meant exposing the traitor. My stomach turned. It sounded exactly like something Jun Seo would say. I can help you get out, Taemin continued. Tonight, before it's too late, I have a contact who can get you and your grandmother new identities, clean disappearance, no trail. Why would you help me? Because this isn't what I signed up for. His voice cracked slightly. I thought I was protecting people, building something, but all I've done is watch good people get destroyed by bad men. I can't save everyone, but maybe I can save you. He sounded so sincere, so genuinely desperate to help. But then I noticed something. The way his eyes flicked toward the security camera in the hallway, just for a second, then back to me. The way his body angled to block me from its view. The way his hand rested near his jacket pocket. This wasn't rescue. This was a test. Or recruitment. Or elimination. I need to think about it, I said carefully. There's no time to think. It has to be tonight, after midnight. Meet me at the South Service entrance. I'll let you know. I walked away before he could push harder. My phone was already in my hand. I had exactly one text message to send to Jun Seo. And I prayed I was making the right choice. Because if I was wrong about Taemin, I'd just destroyed an innocent man. And if I was wrong about Jun Seo, I just sealed my own death warrant. Jun Seo responded to my text within 30 seconds. Don't go home, come to the office, now. I took a taxi instead of the bus, kept checking behind me the entire ride. Nobody followed, or if they did, they were better at it than I was at spotting them. Jun Seo was waiting with Park Jin-ho when I arrived. The head of security looked at me like I was a bomb that might explode. Tell me exactly what he said, Jun Seo ordered. I repeated the conversation word for word, every pause, every inflection, the way Taemin's eyes had moved to the camera. When I finished, Park Jin-ho cursed in Korean. What? I asked. Taemin was vetted 6 months ago, Park explained in heavily accented English. Clean background, no connections to rival organizations, no debt, no leverage points. So either your vetting missed something, Jun Seo said, or someone got to him after he was hired. He could be telling the truth, I said quietly. Maybe he really is trying to help. Nobody helps for free in this world. Jun Seo's voice was flat, certain. Especially not someone who works for me. If he's offering you escape, it's because someone promised him something better than what I pay him. What do? We give him exactly what he wants. Jun Seo looked at Park. Set up the south entrance, cameras, audio, backup positioned out of sight. I want to know who he contacts the moment she agrees to meet him. And me, I asked. You tell him yes, you're scared, you're desperate, you'll meet him at midnight. Junseo's eyes locked onto mine. Then you wear a wire and find out who he's really working for. My blood went cold. You want me to be bait. I want you to be brave, like you've been twice before. Those times I had a choice. You have a choice now, but his tone made it clear I didn't. You can walk into that meeting wired and protected, with my men covering every exit, or you can refuse and we'll never know who's behind this until they make their next move. Which could be against my grandmother. He didn't confirm it, didn't need to. Park Jin-ho handed me a small device. This goes under your shirt, left side, we'll hear everything. I took it, felt the weight of it in my palm. What if something goes wrong? I asked. What if he searches me? What if he? Then you run, Junseo said simply, and my men will handle the rest. Handle it how? He didn't answer. I texted T-Min from Junseo's office. I'll be there, midnight, south entrance. His response came immediately. You're making the right choice, trust me. I looked at Junseo. He says to trust him. Junseo's smile was cold. In 4 hours, we'll know if he's worth trusting, or if he's worth burying. I had never been so terrified in my life. Midnight came too fast. I stood at the south entrance exactly on time, the wire pressed against my ribs like a second heartbeat. The hallway was empty, silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights overhead. T-Min appeared from the shadows at 12:03. You came, he said, relief flooded his face. I wasn't sure you would. I don't have much choice. That's about to change. He pulled out a phone. My contact is waiting 2 blocks away. We leave now, grab your grandmother, and we're gone before sunrise. Just like that. Just like that, he stepped closer. But I need you to trust me completely. Can you do that? I nodded. He reached for my hand. And froze. His eyes dropped to my left side, to the barely visible bulge under my shirt. What's that? What's what? His hand moved to his jacket. You're wired. Everything happened at once. T-Min grabbed my arm and yanked me against him, gun appearing in his other hand. He pressed the barrel against my temple. I know you're listening, he shouted toward the cameras. I know you're here. Silence. Then Junseo's voice came from speakers I hadn't noticed. Let her go, T-Min. There's nowhere to run. I have a gun to her head. That gives me plenty of options. You have 0 options. My men have every exit covered. You're not leaving this building alive unless I allow it. T-Min's grip tightened. The gun pressed harder against my skull. Who are you working for? Junseo's voice was eerily calm. Who promised you could take my place? Someone who actually deserves it. Minyi promised you that too, didn't he? Before I put a bullet in him. T-Min's breathing quickened. Minyi was sloppy, I'm not. You're sloppy enough to trust a woman who's already betrayed 2 assassination attempts. That makes you worse than sloppy. That makes you stupid. The words hit me like a slap. Betrayed, that's what I'd done, twice now. Last chance, Junseo said. Give me a name and you live. Stay silent and you die with your secrets. You'll kill me either way. Probably, but one option is faster than the other. T-Min's hand trembled against my head. Then he laughed, sharp, bitter. You want a name? Fine. It's someone you trust completely. Someone who's been with you from the beginning. Someone you'd never suspect. Who? Figure it out yourself. The gunshot was deafening. But it didn't come from T-Min's gun. He crumpled, dragging me down with him. I hit the floor hard, gasping, ears ringing. Junseo stood 10 feet away, gun raised, expression empty. I already knew who it was, he said quietly. I just needed confirmation you were connected. He looked down at me. You did well, Nyla. Better than I expected. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. Clean this up, he told someone behind me, and bring her to my office when she's ready. He walked away, leaving me on the floor next to T-Min's body, covered in someone else's blood for the second time in 2 weeks. 3 weeks later, I stopped serving coffee. Now I sit in meetings, silent, present, a living reminder of what happens when loyalty breaks. The other men don't look at me directly anymore. They nod when I enter. Move aside when I walk past. Speak carefully when I'm in the room. They know what I am now. Not a maid, not a witness. A weapon Jun Seo can point at anyone who forgets their place. Park Jin-ho was the conspirator, head of security. The man responsible for protecting Jun Seo's life was the one planning to end it. He'd recruited Taemin 6 months ago, planted him during hearings specifically to have a backup plan if Min-yi failed. Jun Seo had known for 2 weeks before Taemin approached me. He'd used me to confirm it, to create enough pressure that the conspiracy would expose itself. I was bait, just like Taemin said. Park Jin-ho disappeared the same night. No body, no announcement, just an empty chair at the next meeting and a new head of security who never smiles. My grandmother is safe. There's a guard outside her building now. She thinks he's neighborhood security. She waves at him every morning. She has no idea what I've become to keep her alive. Director Chen visited again last week. FBI Joint Task Force, same charcoal suit, same calculating eyes. He looked at me sitting in the meeting, not serving, not cleaning, just their asterisk, and something shifted in his expression. He knows I'm not innocent anymore. He knows I crossed a line I can never uncross. When he left, he made eye contact with me and nodded once. A promise or a warning. I'm not sure which. Jun Seo offered me a choice 2 days ago. Keep working as his informant with guaranteed protection, or leave tonight with enough money to disappear. But he made it clear, if I leave, the protection ends. My grandmother becomes vulnerable again. If I stay, I'm permanently tied to his world. There was no good option. Both choices cost me something I'd never get back. I chose to stay. Not because I trust him, not because I believe in what he does. Because I have no other move left. Last night, a new server started. Young girl, nervous hands. She poured coffee during the evening meeting and barely made eye contact with anyone. I watched her the entire time. Watched how her hands shook slightly when Jun Seo spoke. Watched how she positioned herself near the exit. Watched the way she avoided looking at the bloodstain someone had missed on the baseboard near the window. She'll learn, just like I did. Or she'll die, just like others have. Jun Seo caught me watching her and smiled slightly. See something I should know about? He asked quietly. Not yet. But you're watching. Always. Because that's what I do now. I watch, I notice, I report. The glitter of steel caught my eye once. Now I see danger everywhere I look. In every smile, every handshake, every polite conversation. I saved Jun Seo's life twice. And in doing so, I lost my own. The cage is permanent now. The bars are invisible, but they're stronger than steel. And the worst part, I'm not sure I'm the prisoner anymore. I think I might be the guard. Looking back at everything that happened, what do you think saved him more? Power, fear, or the courage of someone no one was watching? What lesson did you take from her choices? And what would you have done if you were in her shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and like this video, because the next story will challenge you in a way you won't expect.